Because I've been in town for 23 years now. I'm a lawyer, I've been a CEO, I'm an entrepreneur, and I wanted to work in the life science industry. And I don't have a science background. And they would not let me in, no matter what I did. But I wrote a book about millennials, and here I am. The most of which is actually Genentech signed on as our first life science client today. So thank you. I'm honored to be here and to now be able to break into the industry, but also to be associated with an amazing group like the Toft Group, and what they do is so cool and awesome. So here's the deal. Why would a CEO, lawyer, entrepreneur write a book or care about millennials or managers in the workplace? I mean, why? And really, like your personal reason, it started with my kids personally. When my now 24-year-old graduated from college after going to Boston College and the Bishop School, and he was looking for a job, and I was coaching him and all his friends on how to connect with the next generation, and I realized he really sucked at it. I mean, there's a technical term for you. He was horrible at it, and he couldn't connect, and none of them could connect. And what blew my mind is we've spent so much money at the Bishop School, so much money at Boston College, and as a society, we're not teaching our kids what it really means to develop relationships and connect with other people. And I'm not sure that we've ever taught it. The other side is this. As a business guy, when I went to work, I had 4,000 employees, 2,000 of which were millennials, and I sucked at communicating with them. So there was a big problem here, because as you're going to hear, they really are the power now. Who knows what a millennial is? Who is a millennial here? Who will Katie, so technically, let's tell you what a millennial is. Born between 1980 and pretty much 95, 97. Some people even pull it out to 2000. They are about 83 million strong in the U.S. alone. 2.4 billion of them in the world today, and 60% of the population is under the age of 30. Okay? Today in the workforce, I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but especially in technology companies, they are about 40%, and the bigger the technology is, or that aspect is, the more millennials you usually have, right? We need smart, really well-educated, innovative kids. That's not what we're saying about them, by the way, either. But nonetheless, that's what you need. They also control a tremendous amount of spending. $1.5 trillion in the next 5 years of retail spend will be attributed to them. They also decide what companies make it or break it. Uber, can you say Uber? Everyone know what Uber was? I was in Boston this weekend using Uber all weekend, and better than the taxi cab industry, which is pretty much they've put out of business. Millennials decided to make that change. Who knows Airbnb? Yeah. The 5th largest hotelier in the world now. Airbnb. Millennials decided that. Who has heard of the word Blockbuster? Remember that? What happened to Blockbuster? One word. Netflix, right? Netflix. Who decided that? You guys know what Netflix and chill is? Oh. Yeah, everyone? Okay. Yeah. For those of you that don't, while I sign your copy of the book, I'd be happy to tell you. My millennials, the 5,000 millennials that we've trained this year have taught me well. So here's the challenge. Every time I go and I stand up and I start to speak, and people say, "What do you do now? Dan, what's your new business?" And I say, we have the privilege to bridge the gap between millennials and managers in the workplace. We get the privilege to do that because there's a big gap. And they say, millennials, kids, right? You're going to tell me how to, and millennials, they want all the power, and they want it now, and they want it immediately, and they want you to tell them how great they are while you're giving it to them. So when I listen to that, I start to get angry, and the New Yorker in me comes out, and I start to want to defend them all because I think they're so special, which we will talk about. But I say, you have it wrong. It's not that millennials want all the power. They are the power. They are your kids. They are your employees. They will soon be your customers, right? And they are the future. And so the other thing about millennials in this generation, which has allowed me to have a pretty successful book, and it's still pre-launch, is that they are the most studied generation ever. They're also the most complained about generation ever. The press on them is super negative. So I'm fighting a big uphill battle because we really have myths about what they can be. And we look at it as a problem that we need to solve instead of an opportunity that we need to embrace. Okay? And so it is a mindset shift that this book has the tools in that we're trying to work with. And we know the rapidity of change, especially you that are in this particular business that you're in. Look at how the world has changed, right? We are in the most connected world ever with the worst record for connecting. And that's the dialogue that's going on. Why are we having such a problem building relationships with millennials? And I'm going to tell you why. If relationships, let me ask you this question. What do you think is the most important skill, life work skill, that there is? What's the most important life work skill?
Communication.
Communication. Number one answer, not my answer.
Ethics.
Listening.
Ethics, listening close to communication. I feel like an auctioneer.
Resilience.
Resilience, I get all those things. Here's what I believe it is. Thank you. Here's a book for you. You all get books. Not that special, but thank you. But here's the thing I'll say to you. You're smart. You get it. The number one life work skill is the ability to build relationships. Not something that we're teaching in schools. So we got this problem with all millennials that we're complaining about it, we're whining about it, we're blaming them for the things we haven't taught them, which is really how to build relationships. And guess what? As a society, we have a fiduciary duty and an onus to do that. And if we leaned into relationships, and if you really study relationships, has anyone seen the TED Talk on relationships? I'm getting a head shaking out there. That Robert Waldinger wrote about the Harvard study on adult education. It's the longest adult study about 729 men from 1938, I think it is, from Harvard. And they studied them through life, and they found out, they took their heart, all the things you guys would love. They did all the CAT scans, this, cholesterol, everything. And the number one reason that made people successful in life was building relationships. What did millennials guess the number one skill in life was? Social media.
Ability to text.
While you're not looking, under the table at dinner. They guessed money, number one. What's the second thing they guessed? And think Kardashian.
Oh, fame.
Fame, right? Money and fame. When they asked those 720 what did you say? Fame, faith, and close. Right? We begin with an F and with an E. They said money and fame. When they asked those young men in 1938, what did they think would, indicate that they'd become successful? What do you think they said?
Hard work. Integrity.
It's so great. I love it. They said money and fame, guys.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they said, money and fame. But so the study shows that what makes us live longer, what makes us better is building relationships. Why in the workplace and why in schools and why in our lives are we not focusing on bridging the gap by creating better relationships? Why do you guys think that is? I have a thesis anyway.
It's hard. Probably too hard to teach.
It's hard, it's messy, it's complicated. What else does it do that's so limited? And thank you guys, it takes time, right? And time is crazy now. Average millennial looks at their phone 43 times a day, right? Average attention span is 8 seconds. Average time of work that you're interrupted in a day is every 11 minutes. You would have been interrupted at least 3 times since we started speaking, okay? The number of data, the amount of data that we consume, right? We're consuming 9 hours of data in a 6.5-hour day. And here's what we're saying, they suck. They're horrible, they're entitled, they're loyal, they're lazy. When I was young, I did it this way. And they should learn it. I did it that way, so they should do it that way. Let me ask you about what you did 20, 25, 30 years ago, 10. How relevant is that today? How relevant is it? With the exception of building relationships. I'll give it that. But it's not very relevant. What's relevant is what we're going to do, the opportunity. And so there's just so much complicity in the complaints about millennials from, I'm going to say my side, okay, so you don't feel bad. From my side, because I'm an old guy, right? And it just is shocking to me at businesses how few businesses are really paying attention, because as we've spoken about, the brain drain of the generation that's retiring now, boomers, at also a rapid pace. What are we doing to build great millennials and great businesses? And here's my thesis. The place where youth and experience meet is magic. And do you know why that is? We all love youth, right? We're all trying to look better, right? When someone says to me today, oh, you don't look 51, I'm like, oh, bless you. How much can I pay you? Right? We love youth. We attract to youth. It's innovative, it's new, it's fun, it's questioning, it's provocative. And on the other hand, especially as scientists, we love experience. We love knowledge. We love content. We love context. The thing is, when both those things intersect, there's magic. And so why are we so bad at looking at as not as a problem that needs to be solved, but as an opportunity that needs to be embraced? And that is my why from my own kids and from the kids that I had at work, is to make that connection so we can create better results in the workplace. Because then we have better science, we have better products, we have better employees, we have better lives, we have better relationships in the workplace, and we have better relationships at home. That's the end of the talk. I'd be happy to answer any question. We've done
It
a ton
sounds
of
easy,
research.
go do it, everybody.
But we bring a book. You're all welcome to a book. I think I have enough for everybody. If you have any questions seriously about what they like in the workplace, how they want to be spoken to, how they want to be treated, what are ways to motivate them, how do you question with them, how do you work with them?
Let me
That's
just
all
ask
in
you a
the book.
question on
Sure.
behalf of the audience. So you actually offer your services to, it's a B2B sale to companies to teach their leadership team how to deal with this.
Yeah. We do a couple things. We believe that millennials want to go fast and they want to go slow. They need to learn about themselves, and the biggest gift you can give them is to teach them about themselves. It is their favorite topic after all. I'm done taking a selfie of me. Could you please take that selfie of me? So they really want to go slow, and they want to learn about themselves, and they love learning this stuff and thrive on it. So they want to go slow. So we offer pretty much enrollments, opt-in basis only. We don't say you should force it on them. And workshops and seminars and all those types of things where they can learn about themselves so they can be,
Better employees.
yeah, but more importantly have accountability in their career path, own their own career path. What happens to me is because of me, right? And really own it. So it's an opt-in, self-motivated employee continuous learning system. We do workshops, we do seminars, we also coach and train managers and millennials, but we also have a piece of software that once we leave, you can sustain it. And the software has all those things about themselves, so the manager can look at it, and then it has a 24/7 on-demand, like an EAP, Uber model for coaching, where your employee can go out to the market, say, here's my profile, here's the problem I'm having, coach me please to be better. So that's what we do.
Awesome. Well, it is our single biggest problem. I think we're on the bleeding edge and the leading edge of attracting these people. Like, it's a big deal, you guys. So they're the ones that come out of left field with strange financial requirements that they think are appropriate. I don't know where they're getting their guidance. So it's really something that we all need to be on the front edge of. So those of you that are CEOs and companies, there's a lot in this room out here, a sea of people that are managing these folks. Dan is your resource. Dan, sign books for the people.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.